Okay, so question 1 is page 8. There's another diagram there. Question 2 is page 19. It's on the video. Question 2 is 19. And so what we do is we just write the page number on your assessment, and then when you go to the book, you can highlight if there's words, and you'll see when we highlight. Have you got a highlighter? No? Yes, a whole lot, yeah. But with the pictures, it's, yeah, straightforward. But once it comes to the words, you might want to highlight the sections.
I did highlight it and write the question.
Yeah, and the question number.
I wrote it in the book, not on the assessment page.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the long one, question 19. The vertebra is on my slide. I might go back there for you. Just open the vertebra quickly, and I'll keep it up for a little while for the sake of people online. There's the yeah. Okay, so there's the vertebra. If you want to write those in there on your assessment, yeah. Because it's not in the book. You've already done that one. Okay, good. So it's there, and people online can just pause on the slide if they want to write that in. So that's good. Question 4, the brain. Do you have a page number? There you go.
Page 3.
Page 3. Three zero. Let's start one there. You find it. Question 4. So just write on next to your question in your question book, in your assessment book, write page 30 there next to the picture. If you've got a pencil, you can just write it on question 4. Next page. Yeah. So just write page 30 next to there, then you can just fill it out at home. Did you write page 30 on your brain? Yeah. Yeah, you did. Okay, 31. Yeah. Is it 31 or 30? 30, yeah. Okay, the next one, question 5, the diagram of the skin. Have you got a page? Page 50. Here we go. It's a fun skin. And the next one is the eye. Page 60. 68. Page 68. There's our I there. Question 7.
I don't have, except page 69, and it's not the diagram.
69. Okay, I think I might have that diagram on mine. No, I might just go grab that and then you can copy from there. Make it a tiny bit easier. Page 36. Oh, there we go. Page 36. Page 36. There we go. Page 36. Digestive system. Have you got a page?
No, I don't have the page.
No. I did take it from the book.
Page 37.
Page 37.
Yep.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, and the year was page 36, yeah.
Page 37. 37. Yeah. It's when it goes backwards and forwards in the book, it's hard to keep track like that. Okay, and the urinary system,
See, I took that off.
the slide.
It is on page 24.
Page 44. Yeah, the one on the slide's a bit simpler. Right? Page 44. Okay, and then question 10.
An artery transport blood away from the heart
Yeah,
and carry oxygenated blood
towards the heart.
and veins carry blood to the heart and carry deoxygenated blood.
From the heart. Mm. And that's the pulmonary vein. So it's on page, what's this page number? Just for people on the page 12. 12 and 13. Transported over 12 and 13. That's question 10. Okay. So that's arteries, and veins is down here, transport towards the heart. Okay. Question 11. Page 34 and 35, but the short answer is the auditory nerve is the ear, the olfactory nerve is the nose, the optic nerve is the eye, and the skin is covered by nerve endings through. Yeah, sort of weaved in here, hey? The ear. Right. Question 12. Okay, so it is A, the mouth.
Number 5.
Ex-
Number 5. Spinal nerve, aviary,
false. Correct. Number 5 is false. Question 12. The mouth is externally visible. So that's the second one. So you can just put arrows towards it. The stomach, food undergoes the chemical digestion. Yeah. C, the colon extracts. The rest of the ones are just all the same, are just on the same line, straight over. The colon extracts salt. The cilium marks the beginning of the large intestine. The duodenum locates at the junction of the stomach and the small intestine. And the ileum is the final portion of the small intestine. It should be in the book, but so this stomach, the mouth. So this is all looks like on page 40, question 12. If you want to go read a little bit more about it. So there's the ileum, there's the duodenum, there's the stomach, there's the cilium on the next page, and the colon on the bottom of the next page. Page 40 and 41. How do we get sick? Chapter 1.2 talks about getting sick. I don't know if patient is for this one. Why do we get sick? Our bodies get sick. On page 71. Our bodies get attacked from the environment, from our lifestyle. We abuse our bodies. And then these signs and symptoms takes place. So we can treat, we don't need to talk about the treatment. So just the symptoms. Why we get sick. And this was question 13. Right, the next one was osteoporosis. It's just down the bottom next page, page 72. Osteoporosis is when your bone density decreases when you get older. That means the bones get weak and are likely to break. And how common is it? The next one, 1 out of 2 women, page 72. Yes. Question 14. The next one, what's the basic principles of a healthy diet? On 71 again, healthy diet can protect us. The basics for healthy body is on page 71. It's to have that, vitamins, minerals, nutrients to stay healthy. And that means we have to eat healthy, get our cholesterol right, eat moderate, stay away from, too much salt, eating too much in general, and also exercising. And basically you can actually answer that question from your own knowledge, really. That's question 15. Are you keeping up with what we're doing? Yeah? Okay, so I just highlight, then you highlight, and then you just go and carry it over in your own time at home. Yeah. And just ask Jackie Lowe or Katika, if you get stuck, they'll show you what they're doing, because they've got it up already. And I record this, so you can go later back and watch it if you want on YouTube. Just speak, I'll send you the links. If you get lost, then I went too fast. But you must just say, stop, I'm behind. Yeah, you go. Yeah, good. Question 16, discuss the function of the immune system. It's also here somewhere. Osteoporosis.
To resist, page 71, resist attacks and healing, blah, blah, blah. And halfway down 71, it says, usually healthy body can resist these attacks using a primary form of events, our own immune system. And then it goes on to what it does.
On page 83 is also a little bit about the immune system. How cells are similar and resist germs, and so yeah, generally also with the immune system, I mean, a lot of us have quite a good understanding about that. So you can, you know, have your own words as well. How we 83, yes. And Gal was right, there is some on page 72 as well, or 71. Page 83 has got a bit on it as well. Understanding how to boost the immune system goes on, you know, you can talk a little bit, understanding, picking a bit out of the following a few ways how to boost the system. Not obviously not everything, but you can highlight one or two issues there in understanding the function, because when you go and read it a little bit, you understand the function also a little better. Question 17, what is the benefits from health promotion and maintenance? So we took health promotion and maintenance on, the heading starts on page 84, but the answer is on page 85. Most studies today conclude that it is more cost effective to prevent problems rather than cure or treat them. So it's the wellness approach. Good nutrition, exercise, regular exercise. So that's the wellness concept or health promotion. So that is made up of good nutrition, exercise, and having healthy choices. Just find you a different page on it. Good nutrition, regular exercise, and regular medical care. The benefit of these choices are, it's a benefit for the whole population, really. Start with awareness. It's led to us modifying our lifestyle and healthcare practices. Like years ago when my kids were small, it was frowned upon when you talked about homeopathic remedies and you know, vitamins, and we were so ahead of our time because I treated my children when they had tonsillitis with homeopathic remedies. I never ever, well, the problem is you don't get that in Australia, which is very frustrating. You have to go and search for it. Yeah, I used a product called Erisadora, which was it's what is it? It's hard to explain. It's a science, but it's natural remedies that they use to build resistance. So it builds up your immune system. And like with tonsillitis, I used the Erisadora 1 and 2. That was a product from Berger. I don't think you get that. I think it might be a German product. It's tiny little white tablets, and it's got a sweet, like a glucose taste. And you just put it under your tongue. And then an hour later, you put a few drops on your tongue. And then you go hour to hour. And it has literally shrunk my kids' their tonsils so tiny that they never needed to have their tonsils removed. So it was incredible stuff, and that I actually uh, um, children's doctor, what did I call the pediatrician, a female pediatrician putting onto that. But I grew up when I was born in the German colony, so we had all the benefits of the Germans, so which is different. But also I've always been very interested in vitamins and minerals and dealing with health, you know, with health issues with
I help my kids with this.
yeah, I mean, and that's the basic principle of it, you know. That you fall over, yeah.
And my son is good one for it. As long as he's on that bottom.
Yeah. Perfect. I'm also, when working in aged care, if I take my vitamin C, I don't get sick. Everyone gets sick around me. I get the combination vitamin C. No, vitamin C, horseradish. There's a combination that is really good. The immune system combination. Garlic, yeah, and echinacea, yeah. That combination is potent, really potent. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's been frowned upon for years, but now people are realizing the value in it much more than ever before. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, because I mean that's what. Yeah, some of us are. I think we knew a little bit more prone to the health industry. You might be a bit more open to it than general population. But yeah, there's huge benefits in that, and yeah, unfortunately, also there's a lot of people taking advantage of the industry and selling nonsense. You know, you get some of these things. Which I frown on. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe there's value in it. Some of the oils and stuff that it's such a big business in America. Yeah, so there's, as long as there's science behind it, I suppose, you know, it can be a strong consideration. So, question 18. What are the factors affecting the elderly?
On the bottom here, under diet.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Chronic, yeah, that's the chronic factors that affect the elderly on page 86. 86. So factors that is nutrition in the elderly, other chronic factors, alcoholism, sensory changes, cost of food, social factors, which is a huge one, loneliness and isolation. And then they wonder why the elderly is dying of coronavirus. It's the isolation that is killing them. So malnutrition, problems with swallowing, you know, and they have issues with their swallowing that they can't eat certain foods. And then, of course, chronic illnesses like dementia and all of that. That's all on page 86. Carries on. There's a little few more on the bottom there. Cost of food. So that was question 18. And the general rule is, if you look at questions and I say 3 or 4 and the rest of the assessment, then you keep following that rule. So you don't have to write all of them. You just 3 or 4, you know. So just because it's short questions, when we get to part B and part C, it becomes a little bit more long-winded. Okay, question 19. Describe the organs and hormone action. What is the hypothalamus? What is the function of the hypothalamus? I'm looking here. Yes, in the book. I think this is figure 19. Page 23. So the major human endocrine glands may include, and as underneath the inclusion there is the description of it as well. Controls the secretion of hormones. So it's this figure. And interesting, it's also question 19, figure 19. That's that one. And we're talking about the aging, question 20. Discuss aging and the relationship between the body systems. And this is on page 87. The relationship, discuss the relationship. So it goes on, it's quite a big discussion there. Just make your summary on the discussion. It's the importance of understanding normal aging and the psychological changes that is provided as a baseline against the signs and symptoms of disease in the elderly person. Age-related psychological changes is not homogeneous in the elderly population. There's an increase in variation, so it's not the same from person to person. You know what? My friend, she's 77 and she's healthy as a spring chicken, you know. And then you get, my mum was 71 and she died. You know, so
sometimes it's your genetics, sometimes it's
environment.
the life, environment.
Yeah. So it's not homogeneous. It can be different from person to person. Question 21. Who would you communicate in the health environment with? They will include people. So, and why is communication important? So we will be communicating with our clients, we'll be communicating with their family members. This is a bit on at page 91. As an aged care disability worker, there's a number of people we will be communicating with, which is the client, our managers, of course, our supervisors, the family members, husband or the wife. And why is it important? It's just the top one is the why, using effective communication with those who need is critical for us. Effective communication will establish good working relationships. And, you know, working with the elderly, building rapport with somebody is so essential because it is so hard for And I suppose in general doesn't matter who you are, but I think for somebody set in their ways a little bit more, so hard when a stranger just come walk in the door and tell you what to do. You know, I mean, we see it with kids, like how shy or scared they can be when there's just a stranger there, and it's so much worse when it's an elderly person. So building a rapport with them is really essential, and being able to communicate with them is very important. And it's important for their health. When I came to Australia, I don't know if I told you guys, I think I told the other group the other day about it. When I first started working at Good Shepherd, we just arrived here on just before the holidays finished. I think it was around about 21st of January, 20 hours, somewhere in the beginning, towards the end of January, just before the school started. And we first lived in in North Mackay, and that units there at the caravan park, those little walk in there was terrible, and there was a cyclone going through town as well at the same time. And I thought, oh, it's just the wind blowing, you know, it's like nothing. Boy, what are they going on about? It's all on the news the whole time, and I'm like, I don't know what they're on about, because I come from a town where the wind blows every day, and our wind is always between 80 and 120 knots. We're used to it, you know, it's like no big deal, you know, the wind always blows. But anyway, so I was like, it's just a little bit of wind. I'm not sure why everyone is so all worked up. But yeah, the humidity was quite something to get used to, because we just arrived from the UK, and we were only in the UK for 2 years before we moved here. So we moved from Africa, sold everything, moved to the UK, and we were there for 2 years. My husband got a job here. He started here in September. We came 3 months later when, you know, he got the permanent position, and we arrived here. So we basically have now 3 continents in 2 years' time. So when we left the UK, we got a container, and we packed all our things that we just bought there into the container, and then that took 3 months to come here. So we lived there in North Mackay for a while, and then we got a house in Bacasia, and it was a furnished house that we got for $700 a week. We lived in this house in Bacasia. They rip you off when you first come here. It's not funny, hey? Not funny. Oh, there was this one guy, his warehouse burned down, not probably about 3 years later, 4 years back, his warehouse burned down. He was such a shark, hey. He was there in Harbour Road, one of those warehouses there on the side, those big warehouses there, and he was selling secondhand stuff. He ripped me off, so it's not even funny. Anyway, so we were in Bacasia in this little house. And then we got a house in Ionia, rented a house in Ionia. But when we were still in Bacasia, and we were only here for 2 weeks, I got a job at the Shepherd Lodge. I basically went there the morning, and as I was driving back to Bacasia, I got the phone call that I had the job. So I wasn't even home yet, so I got the job straight away. So I started working, but I'm just haven't even got furniture yet, you know. And I was just so stressed out of my mind, just from hopping from continent to continent. But then I walked into Good Shepherd Lodge, and all these old people were sitting there, and they were dead quiet. They didn't say a word. And that to me was like, I just couldn't, I couldn't deal with it. It was just so hard for me to deal with it, because they were just quiet. None of them said a word. There was no laughter, there was no talking. And there was all these Filipinos and Indian girls working there, and these poor oldies don't understand a word. It's all us foreigners looking after these people. And so they got quiet, because they probably couldn't understand most of us. But the other thing that played a huge role with them was that there wasn't effective communication, and it actually took their value of life away from them. a lot of, and I couldn't deal with it. I was there for 2 weeks, and I just cried the whole time I was there. I was just, yes, there was that external problems with all, moving country and all of that. But seeing these old people in that state of mind was just, my brain just couldn't deal with it. I just couldn't deal with it. It was because I came from the UK, then having so many rights, and we were drilled into that they the center of care and their decision goes, and suddenly I walked into a place where they were actually quite rigid still. The old people had to do what everyone said they should do, and they had to eat at a certain time, got up at a certain time, do what they didn't want to do most of the time, and they just displayed that in the well-being, that they had no rights. They were like, I just yeah, it just bothered me so badly. It really did, and it had such a huge effect on their emotional well-being and who they were. They've come a far way in the last 7 years with Shepherd. I mean, I've really, really come a far way. Now the issue is very much on them having their rights. And it's a nicer place to work at. When you walk in there, people are laughing, and there's sound, and there's people walking around, and there's life in the place. It's not so dead and rigid anymore. It's made such a huge difference. But it's got such a big impact on their health, communication, and that's why I think it's so important that we get young Aussies or Aussies working with their own people. I really think that is one of the most essential things that's necessary in our aged care industry. Because you go look at the people that was last year also on the news and stuff, the abusers quite often are foreigners that are put under the pressure because they also don't know better. They end up working stupid hours, double shifts, because they're under pressure. Like Katika was saying, what do I do with my children? They don't have that access to to Centrelink to be able to help them take care of their children. So the pressure on them is so much more than when you're Aussie and you can actually access Centrelink and you can put your children in daycare and you've got some assistance. They don't have that. Yeah, there is a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of people that actually, of course, that can't access it. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I also there's restrictions on that for sure. It's not created around here, and it's hard for mums to get out there and work. They can't find a 9 to 5 job. I know. A 9 to 3 job. And when I was a young nurse, when my kids were little, I had the same issues, and we worked 7 to 7. We had 12-hour shifts, and I used to say this all the time, that I started feeling guilty because I have a problem. Daycare finishes at 5 in the afternoon. There's no daycare from 6 to 7 to 8 at night, There's no such thing. Daycare only opens at 8 in the morning or 7 in the morning. I really have to. You don't want to. And that's, I used to say this, I was so frustrated when my kids were small with the same issues. And it is a universal issue. It really is. And yeah, and you have to be careful not to say it's a problem, because your kids start thinking they're the problem, instead of it's, the environment that is the problem. It's not designed. My last job, I actually worked at the yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I stopped working actually. When my kids were little, I stopped working, and I didn't, because for me it was to pay daycare or to pay was as much as what I would earn. No, it's not worth it. Yeah, it's not worth it. What I did
as long
was,
as they behave themselves, people were happy.
what I did is I paint houses. I still remember my little boy sitting in his little pigaloo, hopping up and down, and there I am painting walls. And I look back and I thought to myself, I hope this is not going to affect his little brain or his fumes. Yeah, but you know, we make things work because I come from a country where there's no such social structure. I used to sell our old clothes to, you know, people coming past and looking for old clothes, bags of old clothes. We used to sell that to put food on the table just to keep going, you know. I did funny things, did all sorts of things. You do what you have to do. Like you, I had so many inventions. I made shirts and I made clothes and I, you know, painted tablecloths and I painted walls and, you know, and I, yeah, whatever your hand can find, whatever you can try to do, you do, you know, you try to make a way. Yeah, we're off topic.
I like sewing.
Yeah, I do too. I haven't sewed for so long, I really should get in it. False, that's right. That's that one. And that's the end of it. Okay, good.
Yeah, but the scenarios are on the back.